I think it's great. You know, it's interesting you should ask that because this is going to be, I'm not sure what direction this discussion goes, but
Pete, you're next.
I'm not sure what direction this discussion goes, but this will be the first time I ever spoke about recovery and my recovery publicly, which is...
Hang on. Save it. That's good stuff.
Are we rolling? We're already rolling.
Oh, I'm sorry. Jesus, that's rude of me. Wow, I'm so sorry. No, you're going, bro. You were hot.
Is he good in the camera? Yeah, he's good. He doesn't need.
Yeah,
to
you
move,
were hot,
move,
Peter.
move
Keep
to
going,
the-
man. That was great. You had me.
So you asked what I thought of all this. So it's interesting you should say that because I've never spoken publicly, even on social media, about my recovery. I'm an extremely private guy. And I know there's a lot of people I can help, and I've helped a lot of people. But this is a platform for me to sort of go public with all of that and reach out to even more people in my inner circles. You'd be surprised. I came to Alcoholics Anonymous my first time in the late 80s. So I've been around for
late 80s. Huh?
Wow.
30 years.
I was just getting started.
Yeah, me too.
First time I used drugs was 1988, which I mean, the most of the people that are around, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
1988.
Well, I mean, and you walk around and you look at any young person, ask them when they were born, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
1992?
Yeah. No, those people are like 30.
Yeah.
31.
So yeah, the first time I got sober was 1989.
Nice.
But anyways, back to the question, the impact. Just talking about what's going on, and talking about addiction, and that, you know, a lot of things. It impacts a lot of people, all kinds of people, and folks that come into recovery and recover and get better and become productive members of society make an impact. I know a lot of people that I associate with, do business with, are friends with, new people I meet on vacation, what have you. They don't know I'm an alcoholic. They don't know I'm a drop-dead alcoholic. I would just now I see myself as a productive member of society. So I think this can reach out to a lot of people.
Yeah, me too.
You know,
It's a whole different forum.
yeah,
And for me, starting off here, it's an uncomfortable forum.
yeah,
It's you just gotta learn to be comfortable, and then you start to be yourself.
yeah.
And as we've been doing it more and more, it's like I'm like more comfortable talking this way than I am going
Normal
out,
life.
going out there. I'm like, oh shit, that's scary.
It's
Yeah.
true, you know. I'm
Yeah.
going to grab some mics for home Wi-Fi. Grab the mic.
Take your microphones home with you.
'Cause you can't really scream. You just got to talk.
Yeah, so I try not to think too much before I have these discussions because what's most important to me is the message to get out there is that my sobriety and my success in my marriage and everything in my life is a direct result of my relationship with a higher power,
Right.
that I choose God.
Yeah.
And I never want to lose sight of that. Kind of an interesting dynamic in Alcoholics Anonymous over the years. There's this whole idea of being humble, not taking credit, being service to others, which are good principles, and they've served me well. But something I've learned over the last probably 5 or 6 years is that because of my relationship with its higher power, because of my work in Alcoholics Anonymous and all of those things, I have become a good person, a great professional, a great husband, great friend. And, I need to acknowledge that personally once in a while, to myself. I think that that's important. And, recovery has given me everything. As I mentioned, I first got sober right around 1989, sober for 7 years. Kind of an interesting story, actually. Alcoholic drinker, just drop dead alcoholic. Plenty of recreational drugs. I mean, I did go through high school in the 80s, right? Plenty of drugs floating around.
No fentanyl though.
No fentanyl. Yeah.
Thank God,
That's
right?
true. I've never done fentanyl or opioids, with the exception of an experience with a medical procedure that we can talk about a little bit later.
What's that drug that was the Wolf of Wall Street? Those pills back in the olden days.
That was what was that?
Wow.
Was it
Quaaludes.
Quaaludes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never did get a chance to try Quaalude. How about
I never did.
You know?
Quaaludes.
Yeah, I never.
Isn't that what Bill Cosby used?
Yeah,
Huh?
to get the girls.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
overused.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So drop dead alcoholic, sober in 89, member of Alcoholics Anonymous, very active, lots of meetings, sponsee steps, did well, stayed sober for 7 years. And what happened with me is I had a sponsor with 20 years that relapsed. And I was young. I was young at the time. I think I was 20 when I got sober. And that's young to get sober. And it's...
How old were you?
21.
21, yeah.
It's amazing. How do you know you have a problem at 21?
Dude.
In the 80s.
Are you fucking kidding me?
well,
I
yeah.
had a problem at 14.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a really, really good question. The way I knew
Yeah.
is that I grew up in Fountain Valley, upper middle class. Ran with a popular crowd. And graduating high school, a lot of my friends went away to college and went on to their next thing.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I made two really bad decisions, as I recall, growing up. The first one was when I was a freshman in high school. I was on the wrestling team. And at the end of that first year, I did really well, and I quit.
I don't mean to interrupt, but did you wear one of those funny suits?
Singlets, yeah.
Huh? What are they called?
Singlets.
That's why I couldn't do wrestling.
Roll around with other men,
I mean,
sweaty.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
my thing. A lot of
will-
people like jujitsu though, and they do that. You know?
Yeah. The wrestling is it's an interesting sport. I really enjoyed it. I did well, but I wanted to surf and party, so I quit the wrestling team to join the surf team. And I'll never forget walking down the backside of the gym with my wrestling coach, telling him I'm quitting, and he said to me straight up, he's like, "This is one of the worst decisions you're ever going to make in your entire life." And I don't know what I said, but I quit. And my second worst decision was, instead of going to college when I graduated from high school, I moved to Hawaii to surf and become a dishwasher on the graveyard shift at the Sizzler in Waikiki.
So it was all surfing's fault.
Yeah. So my point of that is that, I tried it my way. And in retrospect, in my mind, that entire time, I was asking myself, why can't I do what I really want to do? Why can't I do what I know I should do? Why can't I do what my folks want me to do? What's the right thing to do? Which had been, stick on the wrestling team, which no harm, no foul. I could have been on the surf team and done just fine. But not going to college was a major turning point for me. So, and I always had this sense like I wasn't able to make decisions and do things that were for my own benefit, that I needed to put myself in a position or a situation or with people where I could just party. And that's when I knew early on something was wrong. There was that conflict, right? That conflict between what I perceived as right and wrong, or healthy and unhealthy, and I chose the unhealthy route. I was a binge drinker, and I just was not going anywhere. It got to the point where when I was 19 or 20 years old, I had wrecked a car, and the replacement car that my dad got me was a 1973 Chevy Impala 4-door.
It's a big car.
It's a big car, and the reason it was is because he knew I was going to crash it. He wanted me to have the most protection around me as possible. And it was just sad. I was in the restaurant business. I was drinking every night, and I was 18, then I was 19, I was 20, I was 21. I just wasn't going anywhere. I had this facade like I was going somewhere in the restaurant business, but I really wasn't. It was just a way to drink every night. And so I got sober and got involved in Alcoholics Anonymous, and it was a great time to get sober back then, because I don't know if you remember that movie with Michael Keaton called Sober or Getting Sober. Really popular meeting about sobriety.
No.
Did
You ever see it?
No.
I forget the name of it.
I was thinking Beetlejuice right off the bat.
I was thinking Leaving Las Vegas.
No, it was.
You guys see that movie, Leaving Las Vegas?
Oh yeah,
Crazy.
See, that's the kind of drinker I was.
Is that how you were?
That was my last drinking binge. Was a 10-day drinking binge
In Vegas.
just like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I have some friends, some local Huntington Beach friends that can attest to that peeled me off the carpet of an apartment in Huntington Beach.
Drinking to death.
Yeah. So I got sober, really active, did very well. My sponsor passed away, and at the time I'd gone back to college, right? Which was one of my dreams. I went to Orange Coast College, junior college for 2 years, did really, really well. Applied to and got accepted to Cal Poly San Luis Obispo's Business College, which is really
That's a good school.
very difficult to get into. And I got in, so I was on my way out of town. My sponsor had passed away, and I stopped going to meetings, and I had a snowboard accident. Injury, neck injury. And I was prescribed Vicodin.
Yeah.
And I relapsed on Vicodin. That episode, it was before I went away to college. I got a taste of what a relapse would be, but I didn't fully relapse because keep in mind I'd had 7 years of Alcoholics Anonymous programming. When you've got some time sober, it's not easy to relapse, but it takes some time to deprogram. It did for me to relapse. So I didn't fully relapse, and I went away to college. Did well in college my first year. And then the second year, I wasn't going to meetings up at college at all. No fellowship, no sponsor. And I relapsed. My senior year in college, I relapsed. I'll never forget it. I made the conscious decision to relapse with the 7 years of sobriety. And I drove into a liquor store on the edge of town in downtown San Luis Obispo. It's called the Cork and Barrel. Bought 2 Heinekens and a pack of Juicy Fruit and a pack of Marlboro Red Box.
Yeah. Were you a smoker?
I was a smoker. Marlboro Red Box.
Yeah.
Hopped in my car, stick of Juicy Fruit, popped that Heineken. You know, that skunky smell of the Heineken.
Yeah.
Down that Heineken, lit up a cigarette, and headed for a bar on the outskirts of town. I think down south from San Luis Obispo was Pismo Beach. And, it's really interesting. My story is a little different than most. You've heard that saying in Alcoholics Anonymous where you pick up where you left off. I didn't. So I didn't have the pressures of having to work because I was in college and I had support. I didn't have to show up to work. I didn't have to be accountable for much. And I was surrounded by young people that were drinking and partying. So I became like a college drinker. Maybe on the heavier side of the college drinker, right? But I sort of fit in. I was a little old for a college student, right?
How old were you?
I think I was like 28.
28. And they all called you
Yeah.
old because they were like 21, 22.
Yeah, they were young.
Most.
I don't know if they called me old. I mean, I had a little bit of money. I had a nice car.
Yeah.
I had it going on. You know, I had a young girlfriend. So I drank. I was able to manage drinking for that period. Interesting thing happened though. One night we were out, and I got a little too excited toward that end of that first year of relapse, and overdrank into a blackout just for that night. You know, not a drinking binge. It's just that night I blacked out. And I never drank normally again after that. Like, I think the disease just reminded me or
Took over.
I was going to say came back. I don't think it ever left, but it reared its head. And this is another really interesting thing. So what happened was the year ended. I graduated, which was great. I was partying. I had the girlfriend. I had the car. I had the condo. And the year ended. And the girlfriend was like, well, you know, we need to break up. I'm going home, you know, which is what college students do. They go home for the summer. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, it's over. And all of my colleagues in college had interviewed during the year and gotten jobs. My degree was in business administration with a concentration in accounting. So they're all going to work for college firms. And it dawned on me I never interviewed, right? And my roommate went home, and there I was in San Luis Obispo. No roommate, no job, no girlfriend. So my best friend in San Francisco that I grew up with here in Orange County was going away to India to study yoga. So I took over his flat in San Francisco the summer I graduated from college, and just went up there and drank. Just drank and drank and drank until I ran out of money. And then I got on the phone. I had a good degree, a good pedigree, good grades. So I got a job as a broker with a Wall Street firm working in Newport Beach. And I was still drinking. I don't know how I did it, but I did it. And that lasted about a year and a half. Another really interesting thing happened toward the end of that, which is barely hanging on, you know, going to this corporate job, working really hard, not really doing that well. But one of my friends had a bachelor party in Rosarito for the weekend.
Mexico.
Los Gaviotas, which is a complex in South Rosarito. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's got a white wall around it.
Yeah.
Right on the water. And we started partying at, on Friday afternoon. Drove down there. Long story short, Sunday night, I'm back in town with a friend of mine that went with us. Still drinking. Been drinking all weekend. Stayed out late that night. Woke up Monday morning to go to work and drank.
On the way to work.
I didn't go to work.
Oh.
I drank. And that started the 10-year, 10-day, seemed like 10-year drinking binge where I really physically just could not stop drinking. I didn't eat. I didn't do anything but drink for 10 days. And, I had an apartment in downtown Huntington with a friend of mine. And, obviously he was getting very concerned. And so they came over and peeled me up off the carpet, and I wasn't quite ready to go. And they said, well, when you're ready to go to treatment, we've got you all lined up at Betty Ford. And when you're ready, let us know. So they kind of took turns babysitting me in this apartment till I was ready. And when I was ready, I was ready. And I went to treatment in 1998. I think I'd been drinking a couple years after the relapse. And, I was back at the starting line, so to speak. I woke up, it was the summer of 98, so it's summertime in the desert, and I woke up out of detox, out of a blackout, obviously, and it was like one of the hottest summers on record. It was like 115 or whatever, and went outside to smoke a cigarette, and yeah, that was it. I tipped over. I'd run it into the ground one more time. And I don't know if you guys want me to keep going along this thought, but this is really what I've got to contribute, is my story. And something I learned, so I work with a therapist in treatment there, and it was a safe place. It was quiet. I'll never forget they had soft serve ice cream 24 hours a day, which was a big deal. And I was in there, I met with a therapist and told him my story, and he said, look, Peter, you come from a decent upbringing. You're an alcoholic. You know how to get sober. You know how to go to Alcoholics Anonymous. You know how to get a sponsor. You know how to be a sponsor, take the steps. You know how to work. You know how to make a living. You've got relationships. You still have relationships with your family. You know how to do everything except for two things that I want you to try this time along. This time. And he said, I think these two things, they won't be easy, but it'll make you successful if you can stick to it. I said, great, what is it? And he said, the first thing is you need to learn how to feel pain. You need to learn how to feel pain and use the tools of recovery to work through it, and not switch jobs to try and make the pain go away. Not go spend money to make the pain go away. Not, switch relationships. Not just, I had figured out ways to make pain go away, but it was just masking the pain. And so that was very, very impactful for me. Like, I guess in other words is like, everything's not going to always be perfect. There's going to be low spots ahead for sure. And I can talk about that a little bit later on as well, as far as low spots coming up. And the other thing is one word. And I said, what's that? And he goes, well, before I tell you what the word is, I want to put it in context for you. It's very, very important in Alcoholics Anonymous that you spend some time and evaluate the people that are around you, even though you're new in sobriety and you're not judging other people, but just evaluate. Look at the people around you. Look at what they're doing. Look at who they're doing it with. Look at what their success rate is. Surround yourself with people that are better, that have been successful, that are smart, that have a track record, that have a reputation and a good one. Make a commitment to, get with your sponsor, make a commitment to a certain amount of meetings every week. Sit down and go through the book. And once you find that group, your team, which I still have a team today for sure, just learn this one word. And I said, all right, what's the word? And he said, okay. That's the word. That's all I want you to say is okay when you get suggestions. And just try it. So that changed everything for me, those two things. Still to this day, I've been studying a lot about health because I know I need to be healthy as I get older, turning 55 this year. And new ways of thinking, new ways of eating, new ways of exercising, and keeping an open mind and just saying okay and trying different things. My wife, so I've been married for 20 years, and my wife is probably, not probably, she's the most important thing in my life. She's an amazing woman. Both you gentlemen have met her. Yeah. Sometimes I have a hard time listening to her. This old adage, hopefully you guys can appreciate this, but my wife will be telling me to do, drink green juice or try this or read this book or do this for years and years and years. And then I'll get a phone call from one of my friends that says,
yeah.
You should really try juicing. Just try it, man. It's totally changed my life. And I'll hang up and go, gee, we should juice. We should. Yeah. She's just like, so, anyways, I don't know.
She's like, I already bought a juicer 4 years ago.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Aren't we doing it?
Yeah, we've got like 3 of them.
But you know what? I really like what your sponsor said there, bro, because those two things, rings a bell with me when he said, hang out with the winners.
Yeah.
Because there are losers. Let's just call it what it is. There's winners and there's losers.
There's winners and losers in every aspect of life. Not just in Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous. It's like, man, what are people doing to get ahead in life? Right. Like I know you on a different level than just your story. Like I didn't even know your really like your alcohol story. I know you as a Peter Gates, Pillars Recovery compliance officer.
Yeah.
And that's how I know you. So I see you as a constant professional. You carry yourself like a professional. Half the people around here have no idea that you ever even had alcohol or that you suffer from alcoholism.
Right.
People don't know that. They were like, what? Peter?
Not Peter. He's too perfect.
Yeah.
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 But it's like, the alcohol is just a symptom of, what's really going on. That's not even the disease. It's not the alcohol. It's how we think that is the problem, and definitely if you're hanging around with the wrong people, you really aren't thinking correctly.
No.
I've had many trips down the wrong road.
Yeah.
And even in recovery, it's just like, man.
So it's interesting.
I evaluate that stuff every single day now of my life. Like, who's in my life?
Right.
Who's in my circle?
Yeah.
My circle's pretty small.
Yeah.
I don't really do a lot of stuff. I go to the gym, I work. I now do a podcast, which, is weird.
Pretty cool.
It's cool. Yeah. Just getting used to it.
Well, it's interesting. So for me, there's been levels, right? There's been in my journey in life, and I don't just say sobriety now because I've been, trying to or being sober for 30 some years. It's more than half my life.
Right.
So
how many years do you have currently?
24 years.
24 years. See,
celebrate 25 years sobriety.
Whoa.
9/11.
That's crazy.
9/11.
Yeah.
That's a special day.
Yeah.
It's a horrible day at my house.
Yeah.
It's the day that Justin died.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that his anniversary?
Yep.
Well,
It'll be his first anniversary, this 9/11.
Yeah, I know that.
Like
that hit you hard.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting point that you bring up is loss, right? From this disease. And having been around as long as I've been around, I've seen a lot of it, Chad. Not probably as close as Justin was to you, but a lot of it, guys that I've sponsored.
Yeah. Good guys.
Sponsors, good guys, great guys. A lot over the years. And also, too, I've had guys that I grew up with that had addiction and did time in prison and ultimately got out and got sober, ended up dying from all the damage that they did to their bodies.
Yeah.
Their kidneys or whatever, turned up with cancer. Was that because of their addiction? I mean,
Maybe.
the stuff we were doing probably wasn't helping, right?
No.
So, in my life, personally, in sobriety, my relationship with my wife and my family, in sobriety, I'm glad you brought up that, Chad, sort of reevaluating. At some point, I have to be able to look at what's going on in my life and reevaluate and make changes, make adjustments, whether it's health, whether it's a relationship, friendship, friend groups, the way I'm carrying myself. Am I out at night a lot with friends? Am I spending time with my wife? And this, something I learned in Alcoholics Anonymous is to continuously be growing.
Yeah, which means you need to be uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's right. You need to make big decisions sometimes.
Yeah.
You can't just be doing the same, the comfortable stuff.
Right.
There's no growth in comfortability.
Yeah.
None. This is uncomfortable for me. I mean, it really is. Like, this is not I can be charismatic and funny, but I do that in my own domain, on my own time, not on somebody else's time.
Right.
And then we do this, but God called me to do this, cause I just can't anymore. I can't not grow a platform where people have a voice that don't have a voice. Like, this fentanyl crisis is like ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I've been in this business for 22 years, in the business of substance use disorder is what we call it now, right? Yeah. It used to just be addiction treatment, or then it was substance abuse, but the reality is people are dying from fentanyl, and it's pouring across our border. Right. Like, they seize enough fentanyl, on a monthly basis to kill the whole entire population of the United States.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, Canada, like 50 times.
Yeah, they're putting it on everything.
Everything.
Weed, right to pills, everything.
Cocaine,
everything. Heroin,
meth.
It's in everything.
So that's another great point in sobriety for me and anyone else. For me personally, through my fellowship in Alcoholics Anonymous and my relationship with the higher power and my relationship at home with my wife, been able to build an amazing life. So there's a lot at stake on a daily basis for me in terms of my sobriety. But furthermore, you make a really good point. I mean, it used to be, as a man in recovery, I'd just have to worry about a relapse. Like,
now you have to worry about beers. I mean, in Narcotics Anonymous, when I would go to Narcotics Anonymous, they would say, if you come back. But like nowadays, it's like 100-fold.
Yeah, it's 100-fold
if you're gonna come back.
Yeah,
you go out and you use fentanyl, you're fucking dead. You have a better chance of playing Russian roulette with yourself. Yeah. And I mean, it is so bad. And the other part that I was saying is, like, I've been in this business so long, and the opioid crisis has been a crisis for a long ass time. Yeah. A really long time. But this is like insane. In the past 3 years, I have seen or known more people that have died in the past 3 years than the whole entire 18 years before that combined. Like, this isn't funny anymore. It's really not funny. And that's the whole point of this podcast. Like, I got pissed off. Like, I got pissed off when Justin died. I get sad too that he died. I mean, it's like a fucked up thing, right? But I'm like pissed off, man. And like, if they're gonna treat anybody bad, that's an addict or an alcoholic, man, I'm gonna be right there saying, fuck you. You're not treating them bad. Like even you send a patient to the emergency room. They got a fentanyl, and they're like, oh, and you again.
Right.
Really?
Give them a chance.
Yeah. I mean, because you know what? Some of the most successful people I know in my life, actually the most successful people that I know in my life are in recovery. And that's not just successful business as well as like relationships, and they're good people. Like I know you, Peter, like you're a good human being, you know, and that's all attributed to the fact that you're in recovery.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what little Peter was like, you know, and I assume that we all had pain, you know, whether it was, you know, inflicted by other people or self-inflicted, but we all had pain, and we all, you know, we all had insecurities. We all had, things that other people don't have, that we would want to mask that so bad with a substance.
That's right.
Such as alcohol. Like, you should really feel for those people. I get comments on my Instagram sometimes, and I'm just like, I'm appalled at some of the things that people say every once in a while. Like, oh, they're, you know, they have a choice. That's their choice.
Right.
You know, fuck that. It's not their choice. Like, you cross the line at some point, you know, and you have no idea the pain that people have inside.
Yeah, but it comes to a time, like my mom was at a point in her life where she wanted to beat me. So when I tell her stories now about things I'm going through with clients or potential clients, they say, you know what, I wish we could just take a baseball bat to their head. You know, let's just break their leg. I think some of these kids need a beating. That's her attitude.
Yeah.
That's that old school attitude.
Well, I mean, people needed, they were really close to having a like a Hell's Angels intervention on me.
Yeah.
You know, having them come and you know, pluck me out of the area I was in, because nobody could get me out.
Right.
And everybody was scared to come in.
Why didn't you just stop? Why didn't you just stop, Jeff?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just
make
that choice?
Because I was having such a good time there.
No.
Yeah, I couldn't stop. I mean, and people like my story, like I was in a fucking, you know, meth-induced psychosis, schizophrenic, thinking I worked for the fucking FBI. I mean, I hated the FBI because I worked for the CIA, you know, and I was doing missions teleporting into my fucking iPhone, you know. Yeah. Like, that's the kind of addict that I am, and that's the insanity of you know, where my substance use took me. It's like, you know, and on top of that, people were scared because they were scared to come over because I was so psychotic. You know, like, and looking back, it's like, you know, everybody, the best thing though, and I was listening to Terrence's podcast, because I like to go re-listen to these podcasts after we do them. I don't know if other people do that, but I like to listen to them, because I don't really, after the fact, when we're done, I don't really remember what was said. So when I go back and listen to it, I was like, oh yeah, we did talk about that. But Taryn said that the best thing that ever happened to her was that her mom cut her off. Yeah. And like, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, is that everybody cut me off emotionally, physically. I think my mom would send my dad every once in a while just to make sure I wasn't dead, you know, because she was too scared to come. Could you imagine if she found me dead? Right. You know?
Yeah, it's heavy.
It really is heavy shit.
It's very heavy.
I want to know what little Peter was like before all of this. Like little Peter, like elementary school Peter.
Yeah, so growing up, I had two older brothers, 3 and 4 years older than me. I grew up in Fountain Valley, California.
Good old Orange County.
Good old Orange County. So I was a baby, you know. I was treated like the baby. I rode on my brother's coattails.
Yeah.
We all went to the beach. We surfed. We skateboarded. My oldest brother, who passed away from cancer, non-alcoholic, Mike, was a tennis player. He was a normie, right? Plus, he had hair.
Oh yeah, I noticed that about this podcast. Just like 3
hairless
white bald men.
Yeah, I shaved this morning just so that I wasn't exactly like you guys. Right?
A bearded one.
Yeah, a bearded one. So I don't know. You know, that's an interesting question.
Were you shy? Were you outgoing? Were you reserved?
It's a really great question. And if I had a a therapist, which I don't, I probably should, that asked that question. It's a pretty deep question, actually, Chad.
It is.
For me.
Yeah.
At this point, for whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know. I can tell you what it was like, but I can't tell you who I was and what I was like.
You don't remember how you felt?
I don't know how much I did feel, actually.
Did you feel weird going to the parties? Did you change your clothes 3 or 4 times? Did you feel uncomfortable going to a party?
No.
That would be like high school days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, elementary, I was like, whew, so shy.
Yeah.
And then from fourth grade, I got like chubby. So I was like the chubby kid. And like, so I was telling Shane the other day, like, I still have a fat kid inside of me, right? And he tries to fuck with my head every once in a while. He tries to bring back those insecurities, because I got made fun of a lot.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why I'm so insane. But you know what? I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah.
Like I really don't give a shit. Like I just am. I am who I am now. I'm Popeye, the sailor man. No,
I love Popeye, man. Popeye's cool.
Okay, I know this is Peter's podcast. But fuck,
That's fine.
man.
Fuck Peter.
I'm still thinking about your last question.
I mean, it's an intense question.
Yeah. So
like I was a shy kid, man, and I'm the baby as well. I have an older 3 older sisters and an older brother, and I'm closest to my sister and my brother because they were around the most. My 2 older sisters were in high school when I was born.
Yeah.
Or close to. But Popeye, right? I loved Popeye so much. And I also grew up Seventh-day Adventist, which is kind of like the Jewish religion. Like it's like Christian but Jewish. So like it's
Is that true?
Very confusing.
Yeah, because like it's sundown. We go to church on Saturday, right? And it's from sundown on Friday night till sundown on Saturday night. We're not allowed to do anything, nothing except for worship. Go to church.
Yeah.
Like even you're supposed to cook the food and everything, and we would always have potlucks at my house. So I wasn't allowed to watch cartoons on Saturday. And that was when good cartoons were on.
Saturday
the good
morning
ones.
That's the only
Saturday
time.
morning. And so Sunday was always Popeye, though.
Yeah.
So I was really into Popeye.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's how the whole Popeye thing came about. And I loved Popeye so much that I would make I wouldn't make her. I would ask my mom to cook the spinach and then put it back into the can.
That's hilarious.
And then you,
Yeah.
what did he do?
And
He opened it up
he
with
would
his
just
mouth?
squeeze the can,
squeeze the
can,
and it
that's
would
right.
all go up in the air and into his mouth.
Yeah.
And then
Pipe.
and my brother was older than me, and I would eat the spinach, and then I would go flex my muscles, and I'd go try to beat him up. I mean, it's stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's some
it's
good
like
stuff.
funny stuff, man.
It's funny you brought up little Peter because I was taking a spiritual psychology course up in Santa Monica, and that was the one thing they had you do was, what would little Peter say to Big Peter today?
Yeah.
Back in that time when you were 10 years old and there was someone after you or there was a monster of some kind in your life. What would Big Peter say to little Peter right now?
What would little Peter say to Big
what
Peter?
would Big Peter say to little Peter? Going through all that stuff when he's younger, disappointments.
I can tell you both ways. Great question. I can tell you what little Peter would say to Big Peter and what Big Peter would say to little Peter.
Yeah.
Is take it easy.
Take it easy.
Both would say the same thing to each other?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I just got that when you asked that
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Take it easy.
Yeah.
Easy does it.
So, and
Would little Peter be proud
yeah,
of Big Peter today?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very proud of where I'm at and who I'm with. I would say the thing I'm most proud of is my marriage. And so another thing two things I want to talk about real quick before we end that I think are impactful. One is that in sobriety and recovery, for me, I was an AA guy. I am an AA guy. Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous and the fellowship. Try it. What do you have to lose? What's the worst thing that could happen? You could become a better spiritual being. And the other thing is that when I got into sobriety, I was told this initially, and you hate to hear this, but initially it was like, it's going to get worse before it gets better. And it's like, great. It's already freaking miserable, right?
Stain. Hey, Stain.
Hey, how you doing, brother? Nice to meet you. Shattuck. 4 T's.
Shane. Should Shane start using that as like, hey, like, be honest with people right up front on the telephone. Look, it's gonna get worse. And as soon as you're after detox, it's gonna get worse.
Well, so here's the thing. This is what they told me, and I come from the school of.
You come from the old school.
Hard knocks.
Pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
Pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was nothing soft about 25 years ago.
No, you'd get fired by your sponsor. And, so the message was it's going to get worse before it gets better, which is why it's important to surround yourself with a home group and get a sponsor.
Yeah.
And feel that pain,
Yeah.
Going back to when
pain is growth.
You know what they used to say at Narcotics Anonymous?
What?
Work the steps or die, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally what they said. I hope they still say that.
That's the kind of stuff they would say in AA as well, in a different
yeah, it's a little
different tone.
Hardcore heroin addicts, man. There's Johnny. He's gonna see. There's Johnny. You got him.
Another thing the sponsors would do is I knew a guy that if one of his sponsees would be whining about something, he'd say, "Here's $5 for your first drink." Or, do the work.
Yeah.
Don't waste our time.
I actually like it, though. I mean, I think you need to be blunt. You need to tell people the truth. I mean, it's a life or death.
Yeah.
It's life or death,
Yeah.
And I think people here, because most people that come into recovery, they, if they've entered in, they don't actually really want to die. They want to live.
Right.
They want some life back into them. They want to feel better than they're feeling now,
Right.
or even different, because it's just like it's rough.
Right.
And you take the drugs and the alcohol away, though, and all of a sudden, what are you left with?
Right.
Yeah. A mess. The mess that you made.
I mean, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and then the baggage, right?
Yeah.
The bills, the relationships. So the messaging was, it's going to get worse before it gets better, but you don't have to do it alone. Surround yourself with winners, with guys that have been through the steps before. And, another thing I'm glad that a sponsor shared with me, or a mentor, I like to call, is that, in our book talks about this, that there's certain low spots ahead. And that's why it's so important for me to stay connected spiritually, mentally, and physically on a daily basis, because those low spots come. And let me tell you, they did come. They come in the forms of, I had an older brother pass away from cancer with 3 kids that were very young. Folks get older. Coming up on 2 years ago, I lost my mom from dementia. And losing my mom was one thing, but from dementia, 10 years of dementia is
it's tough.
Just unbelievable. I mean, I don't know how you could ever prepare
a slow
loved one to go through. Yeah, it's just, successful businesses. Thank you. Successful businesses, not so successful businesses. Skin cancer. I had skin cancer. So these certain low spots are ahead, and the more, connected we are, we can walk through it. We can walk through the pain. So it's all about, for me, it's all about being connected, having that home group in Alcoholics Anonymous and a team. I mean, Chad and I were chatting the other day about something personal, and you referenced my A team, and I thought that was pretty cool. These men are extremely important to me. I have guys that I've sponsored for over 15 years that still call me every day. I don't always answer. I don't always have to answer. I usually do. But that's the fellowship. And that particular guy that I'm referencing that still calls every day, called the moment that I got the news about my brother passing away. And he actually called the moment I got the news about my mom. And same thing goes, he lost a brother to an overdose, a fentanyl overdose. So that is the fellowship for me, and that's what's important, to improve and stay connected with this higher power. And there's a lot at stake for all of us. And, we haven't even really talked about the families, right? I mean, you losing Justin, who was a son to you.
Yeah.
And how that impacts the family. Not that they're doing anything wrong, but it's powerful. I mean,
yeah, no, his dad is having a rough time.
Yeah.
Rough time.
Yeah.
My daughter's having a rough time.
Yeah. He was like a son to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I brought him into a world that didn't exist for him, like
for the better.
Yeah, for the better. Yeah. I mean, he grew up in a rough family, and they didn't have a lot of things, and my kids have been blessed with a hardworking dad who also had a hardworking dad who did a lot of stuff with them, like vacation stuff. And, since he's been in my life, Justin was in my life for 5 years. Sorry. He was the older one. So like he was the older one. My son was still pretty young. He couldn't really help us launch the boat or, do all of the stuff that, and Justin was the one that did it with me. He had the driver's license. So when I'm backing the boat in or, and I would usually back the boat in and then jump out, get in the boat and let them drive away. Yeah. Yeah. Well, because it's a lot harder to drive a boat than it is to drive a car.
Oh yeah.
Especially my boat, it doesn't have reverse because it's a wakeboarding boat.
Yeah.
But I took him wakeboarding for the first time. Yeah. Like I have videos of him, and we had Sea-Doos and I have videos of him jumping back and forth across
over the waves.
And the smile on his face, man, that he had is like, I gave him some of the best times of his life.
Yeah.
It's the shit that like really like cuts deep, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I know he was in pain too, man. It's like, fuck. Yeah. And it's like, I hope that fucking people like, really actually start to watch this shit and take it seriously. Like we're not doing this for fun, for fun. I mean, there will be some fun in here. Like we might even have some comedians in here. We got a pretty big lineup of like, people outside of Hope coming up soon, But man, we're just getting started, and like we're literally not going to stop. So we're just going to keep fucking dropping podcasts every day, 5 days a week. 5 days. There's a new podcast coming out Monday through Friday every week.
Well, I'm honored to be a part of it, and like I said, for me personally, I think we started off, and you asked about what do I think of it. I do have mentors in my life and coaches that I reach out to. And I was telling one of them about this, and I was not really nervous, but like I said, this is the first time me kind of going public with my alcoholism and my recovery, and maybe this is a new stone for me to turn.
Yeah.
Right? mean,
That's why it's a new stone for all of us.
All of us.
Yeah.
You know, for real. Because like I'm forcing y'all, you know, y'all work for me.
Yeah.
And like the podcast is just like the beginning of it's just a piece of the work that we're going to do to build a platform. You know, and I'm open to lots of ideas. You know, people have ideas of outside of the podcast. That's great. Like we're hitting the streets. We got Michelangelo on the beats over there, right? On the beats. Boom. Actually got him on the beats.
Yeah.
And you know, and so we're gonna hit the streets, man. We're gonna go talk to addicts. We're gonna figure out how to get people help. You know, this isn't.
And we're giving away stuff.
Yeah, we're giving away treatment. It's 4 scholarships a month. One of the we're sponsored by the Infinity Group, which is one of the managing companies of Hope by the Sea. I have the Hope by the Sea sweatshirt on today. Currently, like I'm off the clock. I'm on the Hopeaholics clock. Hopeaholics. But Hopeaholics is sponsored by the Infinity Group, and they have graciously offered 4 scholarships a month at one of their 6 treatment centers. So, you know, you've got mental health primary, you've got 4 other addiction treatment centers, and so there's 2 mental health primary treatment centers. So, yeah, we're doing this.
Yeah. So, I mean, my message and hope really at this point is that long-term sobriety is possible.
Yeah.
I don't run around talking about my 20 years sobriety too often, but maybe I should, you know.
Yeah.
Not just as an ego thing, but that people need to know it's possible.
Right.
And I have a blast. I have a good time. I didn't miss drinking champagne at my wedding.
Yeah.
Right?
What about at the other wedding we went to the other day? Like the ladies were drinking.
Yeah.
But we were not drinking.
No, it doesn't even, I mean, you know, as long as where I'm going, I can bring something to the occasion. I feel
like we're more fun when we're not drinking anyways.
Yeah,
it's like, we're just like,
Yeah.
I was like putting on wigs and, I mean, this sounds weird, right? But there was a photo booth.
Yeah.
I want to clarify. There was a photo booth. I had on a pink wig.
Yeah. And we're able.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
No, we're able to sit down and have a conversation and make jokes and have fun and without, you know,
and our wives loosened up. Yeah. You know? Good times.
So, you know, long-term sobriety, you know, if your thing is success in business and stuff, I've got that.
Yeah.
If your thing is success in a relationship and a marriage, I've got that. And one of the biggest things has been since my mom passed, and my dad is older now and living in an assisted living type setting, is to be there for him, you know? I mean, all those things coming up when are using and stealing and whatever we were doing, and hearing the howl of our mom screaming in pain over what we've done, we can make up for that later on in life. You know?
Yeah.
And it's just such a blessing.
And life's not boring, right?
No, I have a blast.
Like, yeah.
Like,
it's not boring.
No, travel, surf, and then get to this point in our lives. I can't imagine, as I mentioned, I'm kind of focused on it right now, turning 55 this year.
Senior citizen.
Yeah. I was at Ross.
I'm sorry, that's true.
Huh?
Senior citizen is right.
Yeah. I don't know. I think they moved it to 65 though.
No, it's 55. AARP hits.
AARP.
Yeah, I'll be hitting his house here pretty soon.
Yeah,
so last month I was at
6 months.
Ross getting something, and the gal asked me, she said, "Do you want the senior discount?" And I said, "Excuse me?" She's like, "The senior
rude.
discount."
That's rude.
I go, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "Are you 55?" I'm like, "No, 54."
Bitch.
But it gives us, you know,
what was her name? Let's call her out right now.
We should call her.
Man, she needs to know.
So
I'm just playing.
It gives me an opportunity, like right now, focused on health, because, you know, 55 might be old, but I've got 20 years left.
You know what? It's not old when you're 55. It's only old like when you're like in your 20s. People are like, oh, 55.
Right.
Like I'm going to be 50 next year in January 8th. So like I'm in my 50th year of life right now. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
I used to be the young guy running around this industry, but you know what? I don't want to go backwards, man.
Yeah.
The man I've turned into today is so much different than the guy, even the guy 5 years ago or 10 years ago. Like I'm proud. I'm proud to be who I am today and the man that I've turned into. You know, grateful is actually a better word than proud. I'm grateful. Yeah. But I heard this one I think it was Tom Brady. They asked him who was his
hero.
idol.
Yeah,
his hero.
His hero.
And he said, me 10 years from now.
Wow.
Me 10 years from now.
Wow.
You know, I think he also said his dad.
Yeah, I heard two of them. One of him and his dad.
It might have been somebody else besides Tom Brady who said
10 years.
Me 10 years from now. Like, who am I going to be 10 years from now? I want to be that guy. Right. I want to be my hero 10 years from now.
Yeah. Right.
You know, I want to have achieved all the goals that I have in my life that I set up. Like this is a goal. This is an achievement for me. It's a win. We told Bailey yesterday, her podcast will be out soon, but like, it's like, you know, you wake up in the morning, you don't hit the snooze button on your alarm clock. That's a win.
Yeah.
You know, you get out of bed and you go have breakfast. That's a win.
Yeah. Good breakfast.
It's good. Well, it can't be a donut.
No.
Damn it, that's what I did today.
No, bro.
I did a cinnamon roll with maple on top.
No, that's not a win.
That's not a win?
No, that's not
I ran 2.5 miles.
That's a break even.
No, I didn't even eat breakfast before I went to the gym. I'm lying. I did. I broke a record today, though.
Yeah, I overheard you say that.
I did 2.55 miles today, and I'm not a runner. Like I'm a weightlifter, I guess. Right. I like to lift weights, but that's so easy, and it's so fucking. It's not that it's boring. It's just like I can go in and just.
It's not that easy, man.
It's simple. It's not even. It doesn't.
It's just because you have muscle memory over the last 20 years.
It doesn't even. It's not hard for me, but what's challenging for me is to get on a treadmill and run and put it on an incline and run and beat my record. Yeah. You know, like I'm trying to get to 3 miles. I suck right now. I mean, I really did. I started walking, and when I started doing it, I started walking. It was 1 mile, but now I'm up to my old record was 2.54 miles, and today I did 2.55.
I gotta get better running shoes.
You said something interesting, and I've learned a lot from you, Chad, over the years. And here's one thing that I've learned from you. You just said I'm not a runner, and then you said I ran 2.5 miles this morning, and that's one thing that I've learned from you, among other things, is that I think we are celebrating Halloween here, and I wasn't dressed up. He said, "Why aren't you dressed up?" I said, "I'm not a Halloween guy." Do you remember what you said?
Neither am I.
No.
He said, "Maybe you really are a Halloween guy."
Yeah, and you never tried it. Yeah.
And
maybe you are.
Yeah, maybe I am.
Next year.
Yeah,
I mean, this year.
Yeah.
Halloween.
So I guess the point of all that, and then, I guess the point of all that is that, the mind's a powerful thing.
Yeah.
And it could tell me I'm not a Halloween guy, as goofy as that sounds, or not a runner for years and years. And where did that come from? Why am I not a Halloween guy? Why am I not a runner? Maybe I am a runner. Maybe a runner is my destiny. Maybe a runner is the solution for me to get from 55 to 85.
Right.
I think it is.
It could be.
I mean,
it's part of it.
I don't want to have to take blood. It's like you get older, right? And these young people aren't even going to think about it, but like, I don't want to take blood pressure medication.
Right.
And like I had slightly elevated blood pressure, and I'm like, fuck that. I'm not taking meds. I'm going to the gym. And I'm going to run. I'm going to change something. I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to do this. And my blood pressure's back down to where it was before.
Right.
Prior to having elevated blood pressure,
Yeah.
We got an hourglass. And not because we don't care. We want people to just go on and on and on.
Yeah.
If they want to go on and on and on. But we were checking to see if this hourglass was actually an hour. Is it?
Probably.
It's actually an hourglass.
Awesome. Yeah. Go figure.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, really weird.
It's an hourglass, and it takes an hour.
49 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
40. I started it late. Oh, yeah, you did start it late. So, anyways, that's about it, man. That's the real deal.
Yeah, that's the real deal.
You know, I like getting into it because, like, once you get into it, it's just like
flowing.
Yeah.
Easy.
It's easy.
It's authentic.
Yeah.
Stay uncomfortable in early recovery.
And stay in the center of the herd.
Yeah.
Stay in the center of the herd. And
you heard that saying before?
Yeah, I've heard that, and I've also heard you'll create the fellowship you crave.
Yeah.
So surround yourself with people that are like you, that are not like you.
But that have time.
Find a group. Yeah.
You need time.
Find a
you
group
need people with
that
time.
surfs if you like to surf, or maybe you've come into a group that surfs and you've never surfed and you try something new. You get uncomfortable.
Yeah, and get uncomfortable.
Cool thing about Alcoholics Anonymous and NA and stuff is that people that normally wouldn't accept you will accept you.
Yeah.
And they'll make you a part of.
They will.
And they'll bring you in.
Yeah.
You gotta look out for, you got to be around the right people. Right?
You got to look out for the what? What do you call them? What do you call them?
12 steppers? 13 steppers.
13 steppers.
13
yeah,
steppers.
13 steppers.
Yeah.
And make sure the motives are in line,
right.
all the way around. And my own motives are in line.
Yeah. Well, I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. Show me someone's friends. I'm going to show you their success rate. That's the bottom line. That's an AA as well.
Yeah, I've also heard, show me the 5 people closest to you, and I'll show you where you're going to be in 5 years.
I like that as well.
I've heard that one.
Oh, damn, I better change my partner. You guys are like the closest people to me right now.
Right? We're going to be fine.
Jesus
Don't worry,
Christ.
baby.
What if you're the leader of the pack though? Then what is that? How does that work out?
You've got to have someone above you.
There's no one above me.
There's always God.
God.
There's always God.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
God's the one that tells me what to do.
Yeah.
What about the guys in all the books?
The books? Like Jocko?
Yeah.
Jocko's cool. Goggins. I mean, Goggins pushes me so hard.
Yeah. All these guys get us going.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah.
When we're not podcasting, we steal their stuff and we post it on our stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like screen record it. Can I say this on a live podcast? No, it's not live. We're recorded. But we don't edit our podcast.
No.
Unless you say the word, what word?
We can't say grape.
Grape. You can't say grape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Without the G.
No idea what that means.
Grape without the G, we're not allowed to say.
My wife looked over my shoulder. I was watching Goggins the other day.
Yeah.
And even she knows who he is. She's like, oh, that guy's hardcore,
Psycho.
man.
Yeah.
Psycho.
I like him because
Yeah.
that's how I talk to myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
I like talk to myself in my head, like, get your fucking ass up out of the bed.
Yeah.
I kind of toned it down a little bit for when Bailey was in here, but I'm like, get your fucking ass up out of the bed, you lazy motherfucker. That's what I say.
Yeah.
And then I just like,
You can't even get it. You can't even lay down anymore.
Because like, no, I'm gonna be pissed at myself.
I know,
and I
bro.
can't punch myself in the face.
I know.
Like, dude, don't talk to me like that. I am you. Get up and go to the
I
gym.
had that this morning. I was feeling so lazy, and then it was raining outside.
I actually had to talk myself out of going to the gym yesterday. I was like, dude, take a day off. You like 15 days in a row. You need to like, you're not David Goggins. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's great though. Like he helps a lot of the guys. I mean, I do look up to these people that have done something on a platform that I haven't done anything on yet.
Right.
Although I just found out yesterday that we're the number one podcast on addiction and mental health.
Nice.
Yeah. Yep.
Congratulations.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Because you are when you say you are.
Yeah, you're damn right we are.
That's the bottom line.
Bottom line.
You are when you say you are. Right, Michelangelo?
Yeah.
Because Logan Paul, he's like, dude, we're the number one podcast. Like but we're coming for the number one spot, just the number one podcast. Right now it's just addiction and mental health, But We're coming for that number one spot.
I've seen you create this thing. It just happened.
Yeah.
It's happening.
I mean, I let the late, great Kobe Bryant, one of the motivational videos that I post every once in a while is he says, go after your dreams. Just go after them. Like, don't wait around. Don't wait around.
I feel bad posting Kobe stuff now.
You do?
Yeah, I don't know why.
I love posting Kobe stuff.
I listen to it, but I don't post it. I just feel not a guilt, but I feel just a sadness, I think,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers are going to win the championship, though.
I don't follow Lakers.
Huh?
I don't follow Lakers.
Should I, can I make that prediction right now? The Lakers are going to win the championship? Yeah. Anybody want to bet me? I only bet $10 though. That's
max.
Yeah, that's my limit. $10.
Who won it last year?
I stopped watching it.
Who's that guy that's on Shark Tank? I'm going to take his team.
Oh, that's
because he's got
Mavericks.
Yeah, he's got a few great
I don't
players.
follow sports at all.
You don't? You follow surfing? Who's the best surfer in the world right now?
I don't know.
Are you related to Bill Gates?
No.
Have you ever been asked that question before?
All the time.
Okay. What do you think of Bill Gates?
I don't.
Are you an Apple guy or a Bill Gates guy?
I'm a Bill Gates guy.
You are?
Yeah.
So what phone do you have?
I have an Apple phone.
Is that only because the company makes you have an Apple phone?
I had an Apple phone.
You did?
Because one of my friends tried to get me to switch over, and it's going to take too much work and time to figure it out. So I just stayed with the Apple.
To the Android?
Yeah. No, I'm a PC guy.
We don't even know. We bought a PC though. That's what's running this podcast. So all of us are Apple guys.
Yeah, Apple.
Apple guy too.
Yeah. Graphic design and film. All right, guys. We got Frank up next. Frank the Tank.
Frank
Bufa,
the Tank.
yeah. Yeah, he was Mr. France is in the house.
Really?
Yeah, Mr. France bodybuilding.
Really?
Yep, he's in the house. He'll be up next.
Thanks for the invite, gentlemen.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate it, Chad.
I got to go change shirts because that's what we do. Thanks, Peter. Good times.